Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 18th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see here. So far, it's just been a really chill, relaxed weekend. Food corner for yesterday was pretty low key, pretty chill. Since I was staying in the house, I just didn't really want to go out. And I wound up making a cheeseburger and popcorn chicken, and then some fries. Now, the nice thing that was really cool about this meal was I've been sitting on the sauce that I got from Kroger, and it's called Cajun wing sauce. It's just very generic brand, Kroger brand shit, whatever. And picked it up, kind of just sitting, waiting for the right time to finally use it. And I decided this was the time, and I ate it, and I had such a ratatouille moment, and I was just like, why am I like loving the sauce? Like, why am I going ballistic about this sauce? And I realized it had this taste that was very akin to the home style chicken selects sauce that you could get from McDonald's. And I don't know why that was such a core memory for me, and it was just being unlocked, and why that was so important, but it was. And it made me really enjoy my meal a lot more. So yeah, that was nice. That was a little W. And also that sauce is like really cheap, so hopefully I can go back and get some more of it when I run out. But yeah, let's see. Is there any other food corner festivities, anything like that? No, not really. I went to the grocery store, picked up some things, and like I said, overall, it's just been a chill little weekend. So it's nice being comfy cozy, especially with things being so cold. But yeah, let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we'll get into some news. How does that sound? Hopefully, good. Ooh. All right. Our first story comes from CNN. Virginia home explodes with fire crews inside, leaving firefighter dead and 13 injured, officials say. A house exploded in Sterling, Virginia on Friday night as fire crews were inside checking a gas leak, leaving one firefighter dead and at least 13 others injured, including 11 first responders, officials say. The injured first responders and two civilians were hospitalized after the blast, according to the Loudoun County Fire and Rescue. Their injuries ranged from severe to less severe. Four of the first responders remain hospitalized Saturday morning, according to an update from Fire and Rescue. The department identified the deceased firefighter as 45-year-old Trevor Brown, who was with the Sterling Volunteer Fire Company and had been affiliated with the Loudoun County Fire and Rescue since 2016. Crews responded to the home around 7:40 p.m. Eastern Time Friday after getting a 911 call about a gas odor coming from the residence. The Loudoun County Combined Fire and Rescue System said in a news release on Saturday. At a press conference Saturday, System Chief Keith Johnson said authorities assumed the explosion was propane related, as firefighters had arrived at the home in Sterling to assess a leak in a 500-gallon underground propane tank where the gas had migrated into the home. I do not have any complete cause of the fire. We can assume it was propane related, but no complete cause has been initiated. So, excuse me. Obviously, it's very unfortunate. But I will say it was good that everyone involved did the best they could in the situation. It definitely seems like, even down to the family saying, "Oh, wait, there's totally a gas leak here," and they call it in, and then you have the firefighters come in and they're trying to assess the situation, handle the situation, and I guess at some point, let me go ahead and read a little further. Johnson said firefighters entered the home with appropriate PPE, and the two occupants of the home, as well as their pets, were removed. Shortly before 8:30 p.m., units on the scene reported a catastrophic explosion that caused firefighters inside the home to become trapped and injured outside of the structure. So, obviously it's very sad. It's very unfortunate. My condolences to the family and the people, who are involved and injured and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, definitely just a lot of heroics at play, it's super sad to hear this, but like I said, I've definitely learned and listened and heard a bunch of stories like this, and then you find out that it's like, oh, this was like some kind of scheme to like get some insurance fraud money or something like that, and this doesn't seem to be like that. But definitely if there's any more updates on this story, I'll definitely keep you posted. But definitely wanted to have send condolences to the family. The was it Brown? Obviously it's a shame, but definitely doing something in the line of duty is very commendable in this situation, in this case for sure. So on that note, we will move on to the next beat. From The Guardian, U.S. officer fired at handcuffed man in SUV after mistaking acorn for gunshot. So, oh, wow. You gotta love cops being a hair fucking trigger. A Florida sheriff's deputy mistook the sound of an acorn hitting his patrol cruiser for a gunshot and fired multiple times at the SUV where a handcuffed black man was sitting in the back seat, officials said. The man, who was being questioned about stealing his girlfriend's car, was not injured during the November 12th shooting. He was taken into custody but released without being charged. The officer who initiated the shooting resigned. So, honestly, there's at least a silver lining here of the guy just realizing, hey, maybe I fucked up a little too bad here. The Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office released the body camera video and internal affairs report this week, addressing the acorn for the first time. The acorn in the room. Investigators viewing the video from Deputy Jesse Hernandez body camera saw an acorn falling just before shots were fired. An internal affairs report by the sheriff's office concluded. The acorn bounced off the patrol vehicle's roof. That morning, Hernandez, a sergeant, and another deputy had responded to a call from a woman who said her boyfriend had stolen her car and was sending her threatening messages. The woman told the deputies that the man had a weapon, the report said. Excuse me. Police detained the boyfriend and searched his car after handcuffing him and placing him in the back of Hernandez's patrol car. That's where the acorn hit the vehicle. And shit hit the fan. As Hernandez approached the passenger side door of his patrol car, he heard a popping sound, which he later told investigators he perceived to be a gunshot. He said he believed he had been hit. And I love this because cop logic just, they always escalate this shit. Like, yeah, there was fentanyl in the room, and then it, touched me, and then, oh my god, I OD'd. It was crazy. Wow. And it's like, dude, it's okay to be freaked out in a high-stress, very tense scenario. That's fine. It's just what you do in these things is really what makes and breaks you as a human, but it can really make and break your career as a goddamn cop, as this motherfucker found out. Because it's like, look, dude, this isn't your time to go Call of Duty, just empty the fucking clip. Also, it's added, he began yelling shots fired multiple times, falling to the ground and rolling, the sheriff's report said. He fired into the patrol car. Sergeant Beth Roberts heard the gunfire and Hernandez's screams and began firing into the car as well. Now, it's noted that They didn't find any criminal charges. Okay, that's fine, whatever. Even though, I mean, you did endanger, civilians and all that kind of shit, but like, whatever. I understand. Once again, we're talking about the high stress shit. So there wasn't any criminal charges, but internal affairs investigation determined that Hernandez's use of force was not objectively reasonable, and Hernandez resigned on the December 4th. The sheriff's office said. Now for the sergeant, she was found to be okay after this investigation, so she's not facing once again any charges or anything like that, any actions. I can kind of understand that logic because you're following, like, oh, okay, this fellow officer or whatever is firing. I should support whatever. But at the same time, I'm also thinking, like, wait, you got to make these fucking quick you got to make these quick assessments in these kind of moments and understand, like, hold up, tell this motherfucker to stop. But I also understand that sometimes you can do those kind of situations, and the next thing you know, you're wind up fired, you lose your job, or you're in trouble because you didn't do something like that. So I don't know. I get it. This shit is tricky. It is a landmine of a situation, but I'm glad that this has at least become a meme, and I'm also glad, most importantly, that no one was hurt in this. I'm curious in some ways where you think, like, well, it definitely seems like the boyfriend here was doing some fucked up shit, and it seems like he got off, no charges, whatever. I wonder if how Hernandez or whatever handled this case, if this made it like a non-thing, and it's like, yeah, this guy just gets to skate away now. But granted, good that he didn't get blown away because a cop heard an acorn hit his fucking car and was like, "Oh my god!" Bam, 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 bam. Just turns to goddamn John Wick. So yeah, I mean, are we really that surprised that a cop's doing this kind of shit? No, we're not. This, like I said, the silver lining is no one was actually hurt, so we'll take that. But man, you gotta love it, city's finest. All right, let's move on to the next beat. From the Associated Press, Charlotte, a stingray with no male companion, is pregnant in her mountain aquarium. Charlotte, a rust-colored stingray the size of a serving platter, has spent much of her life gliding around the confines of a storefront aquarium in North Carolina's Appalachian Mountains. She's 2,300 miles away, or 3,700 kilometers, from her natural habitat under the waves off Southern California, and she hasn't shared a tank of water with a male of her species in at least 8 years. Excuse me. And yet, nature has found a way. The aquarium's owner said the stingray is pregnant with as many as 4 pups and could give birth in the next 2 weeks. Here's our girl saying, "Happy Valentine's Day. Let's have some pups," said Brenda Raymer, executive director of the aquarium and shark lab on Main Street in downtown Hendersonville. An expert on stingrays said it would have been impossible for Charlotte to have mated with one of the 5 small sharks that share her tank, despite news suggesting that was the case after Raymer joked about a possible interspecies hookup. The small aquarium is run by Raymer's educational nonprofit Team Eco, which encourages local school children and others to take interest in science. Its biggest lesson now is on the process of parthenogenesis, a type of asexual reproduction in which offspring develop from unfertilized eggs, meaning there is no genetic contribution by a male. Now, this kind of sparked my interest because I know we covered a story about a crocodile last year in a similar situation. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, perfect. It's neat to see that, like they said, that this isn't it's rare, but it's not confined to any one species, and it does happen. So it's cool that you get a chance to actually study it, chronologize it. I'm not getting the word, but whatever. But yeah, the mostly rare phenomenon can occur in some insects, fish, amphibians, birds, and reptiles, but not mammals. Documented examples have included California condors, Komodo dragons, and yellow-bellied water snakes. Let's see here. Was there anything else I really wanted to pull from this? No, but these were Round stingrays, apparently they can be very painful to like if you're walking on the beach, they tell you to do like the stingray shuffle to just be really, like really aware, really careful because they can be really fucking painful. But yeah, very interesting that even though this is in like North Carolina or whatever, you're having this like rare kind of moment. It's also funny that like some news outlets have been like, oh maybe the shark and the stingray did fuck, and it's like, dude, like they don't match like anatomically, like the DNA, all that shit, it just won't work. So like the only way this happened is this, unless like we're just missing some information that we don't know. They slipped in some extra stingray, like. But I think this is a very cool, it's a very interesting phenomena. So I figured, hey, let's go ahead and yap about it for a little bit. But yeah, we'll go ahead and call that covered. Yeah, there you go. We're at the end of it. All right, let's move on to our last bump. It's Trump related. I'm sorry, but it is funny, and I feel like I'm a former sneakerhead, but really it never has left me. So I don't know. I felt very drawn to the story, and I was like, we'll close out for the week on this one, or I guess you can say close on the episode, because maybe some people view Sunday as the start of the week. I view it as the end, but whatever. You can debate that in a comment if you like. But anyway, let me go ahead and take my last break, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. All right. Oof. Our last story comes from the Associated Press. Trump hawks $399 branded shoes at SneakerCon a day after a $355 million ruling against him. As he closes in on the Republican presidential nomination, former President Donald Trump made a highly unusual stop Saturday, hawking new Trump-branded sneakers at SneakerCon, a gathering that bills itself as the greatest sneaker show on earth. Trump was met with loud boos as well as cheers as the Philadelphia Convention Center at the Philadelphia Convention Center as he introduced what he called the first official Trump footwear. The shoes, shiny gold high tops with an American flag detail on the back, are being sold as Never Surrender high tops for $399 on a website that also sells other Trump branded shoes and Victory 47 cologne and perfume for $99 a bottle. Jesus Christ. He'd be the 47th president if elected again. So yeah, I just thought this was such a fucking funny ass story. Also, I thought it was very funny to just think about like all the kind of people at the venue. You have like a bunch of sneakerheads. Then you have people who are just like attached to the hip at Trump. This was an unannounced thing in a way, but I imagine just people who are just big fans who are in the area, like, oh my God, Trump, I gotta go see him. So you had like cheer moms coming from like their own thing to come see this shit. You had sneakerheads being there. I'm kind of curious to see who is going to be the type of person, the people who buy it. Honestly, I know it will sell. Just because, I mean, shit, even Trump got into the goddamn NFT game last year and he made that shit work for himself. He made some money off of that. People will just buy anything Trump related because, one, they want a piece of it. For them, they feel like it's a piece of history. There's also the people who know, oh, I can resell this to whoever the fuck and I'll maybe make some money that way. And it's a racket that just seems to work. This is the one thing that I'm okay with Trump doing. It's like, okay, man, like, yeah, make your little money off this ticky-tacky bullshit. Like, go off. I will say that if you just look at the shoe, to a point, it's almost all right. Like, it's gold. I like gold. America. Some things about America are kind of nice. But I don't know. I'll tell you what is a huge turnoff though. It just has it has an embroidered T on the side of it, and that's yucky. Like, ugh. The red bottoms, cool, but it does look like a fucking knockoff Air Force One. So, you can just get some Air Force One high tops and you'll be better off and be much cheaper. But once again, I can understand the people who are maybe getting into this for the resale value, because there's going to be some chump that's going to buy this shit off of you for a high markup. But yeah, I mean, this comes off of the heels of him having to pay $355 million in penalties. And we talked about the other shit with, E. Jean Carroll, all that. But I don't know. Trump seems to always seem to have the money to pay the shit. Granted, I mean, his lawyers and shit seem to be begging for money and saying, hey, where's my fucking shit? But yet he seems to always have new, good lawyers, or at least good enough. I don't know. So, this was just interesting to me. I couldn't help myself but to talk about this before I went on. I was like, oh yeah, we got to talk about Trump shoes. New Trump shoes just dropped, and apparently these aren't the only one. I didn't do too much research on this, but yeah, apparently there's a couple shoes that you can get, and the cologne. I mean, hey, if you're a whale that has bought into this shit, I know I seem like maybe a liberal asshole to you, but I'm curious. I'm a curious connoisseur. So if you've bought this shit, hit my line. Let me know. How does it smell? Are the shoes cool? Like, send me some pics. I would totally love that shit. That'd be very funny, very cool. Maybe not funny. Maybe that's the wrong word. It'd be interesting. Whatever. But yeah, I think that's it. I think that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.